Kumihimo Mysteries Unlocked. It's going to be May 1, 2, 3 of 2026 in Portland, Maine. So that's the first weekend of Maine, which is just an absolutely fantastic time to go to Maine. What we're aiming for is after it stops snowing in the lovely springtime, but before the super expensive summer high season. So that's why we're going in May, and it's going to be amazing. What are we doing at a Kumihimo design retreat? What even is that? So the general concept is you want to learn how to design your own patterns. So you love Kumihimo, you like following my patterns or other designers' patterns, you like putting together kits, but you want to do your own designs. Maybe you've tried it already and you want to get better at it, or maybe you've been intimidated and you haven't even started to just be like, oh, hey, how do I put this together? This is for you. So we're going to cover some major topics. So number one, we're going to be talking about color, how to choose colors that work well together, how to choose colors that pop when you want to pop, how do you choose colors that like blend when you want a really nice smooth blend. And then we're going to be talking about how to do fades. The ombre is a thing that I'm super well known for. People are always like, how do you do that? Well, I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's actually really easy. And once you know how to do it, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's easy. Yeah, I know it is. And you can do it too. And once you know how to do that ombre, you can do all sorts of different things with it. And you're gonna learn how to manipulate it, how to make sections longer, how to make sections shorter, how to do that same sort of like fading from one thing to another thing with different types of beads, which brings us nicely to the other major topic of this retreat, and that's how to braid with any bead. And what do I even mean by that? Can you braid with any bead? Absolutely any bead? Yes, you can, if you broaden your definition of what it means to braid with a bead. Obstacles to braiding with any bead is hole size, right? Sometimes the hole size doesn't work for your stringing material. So how are we going to address that? Well, we can modify the hole size by wire wrapping. We can also incorporate some beads by using multiple techniques. So we can combine bead stringing with Kumihimo, stitching in Kumihimo, wire wrapping in Kumihimo, and put them together. So yes, if you come across any bead in the world, I am confident that you can use it as part of a Kumihimo project. I do have some examples of some things that like conceptually we'll be talking about. So this is what I mean by a fade, right? So we're going from one color to another color. You know, in this one, we're going from a blend of colors, right? So this gold blend, and this goes into this solid navy blue. So how do you write that pattern? If you've made any of these, like following along from my kits or patterns, you know that you get a stringing chart and tells you, okay, pick up so many of color A, and then so many color B, and then so many color A. Well, how do you know how many of each and all of that? You're going to learn how to do that. This is same idea, but we're going from a solid to a solid. But again, how do you write the chart? How do you decide how many beads go in each section? And then how do you make decisions like, well, where do I want this fade to end on my necklace? And most importantly, how do you make that decision like for your body, right? Because everyone's different. So like on you, if you're making this necklace for yourself, where exactly do you want that fade to be? How to play with colors, how to make really beautiful blends. There's a bit of an art and a bit of a science to it, and you're going to learn both components. Braid with any beads, like this that I'm wearing right here, the rendezvous. So these big old check beads, first of all, in these flowers, the holes are just going the wrong way to be used the way we want them. So we wire wrap them to get the hole where we want it because we wanted it to be top drilled, essentially. And then also, how are we doing a count on here? Because look, we don't want those check beads on the back. That would be super uncomfortable. This would be just like massively thick. Or something like this, where we've got these giant rondelles. And just different ways of using different beads. These are lentils. And obviously, I can't teach you how to do every single bead in the entire world that has ever been existed and will ever be created, because you know they come up with new beads all the time. But what you're going to learn is the creative problem solving that helps you go from, okay, I have this bead. How can I use it? And then like problem solve all the different ways so that you can get to that solution and learn how to do the prototyping and note taking that you need to do it. There's so much stuff here. If you've been to one of my other retreats, my first retreat was just on color, and then my second retreat was just on this like braiding in 3D with the different shapes. We're going to combine that for this one, for Kumihimo Mysteries Unlocked. Back to my down camera. I'm still writing the book for the retreat, but like this was the first one, and these things are massive, right? You got all sorts of like examples and workbook pages in here. Designing in 3D. Got all this stuff, and we'll be putting that together, and I have lots of new content for this year as well. So we're going to be in Portland, Maine. Why we're going to be in Portland, Maine? Because we're going to the Museum of Beadwork, and if you haven't been there, put it on your list of places you have got to go. It's magical. If you love beads, and if you're watching this video, you probably do. If you love beads, it's such a special place. It's incredible. I like museums, generally. I like all sorts of museums. I like art museums and science museums and little history museums. I love museums. This is a great museum. It's really well curated. It's well displayed. It has good graphics. The lighting is just spectacular. Oh my gosh, you can't capture it in the photos. And the lighting's really dramatic. So you get these incredible like spotlights on the pieces, and so all the beads just sparkle and shimmer. It's amazing. I first went to the Museum of Beadwork in April 2024 when I was invited to have a guest exhibition. So I had my Kumihimo necklaces on display for 6 months, and I went and I taught some classes there. And the people who run the place are amazing, and it's just an incredible passion project. You know, sadly, beadwork throughout the world, it's often dismissed as, oh, that's women's work. And so it doesn't always get the appreciation that it deserves as an art form. And Museum of Beadwork is working to change that and to educate the public about beadwork as an art form, the history of beadwork. Oh, they have a new exhibit that's going to be opening soon about indigenous beadwork in the Maine area. It's very cool. So that's why we're doing it at the Museum of Beadwork, because I want to do the class there where you're going to be like in the gallery, right? So we're going to have like a whole weekend at the museum where you'll be able to be inspired by all of the art that's there and like just feel it, like feel the energy of it. The other reason we're doing it there is because Museum of Beadwork shares a building with Caravan Beads. I don't know if you know about Caravan Beads. They are one of the major Miyuki bead importers. So since this retreat is about you designing your own stuff, there's no kit. You're going to write a design, pick out your beads, and do it. So yeah, absolutely bring stash beads, but when you're doing this, you're going to want to have access to a lot of beads. We're going to talk about how to buy beads online and like the best way to go about like online bead shopping if you don't have access to a local bead store. But for this retreat, you are going to have access to not just like a local bead store, but a major Miyuki importer. So basically any color you can think of, they've got it. You know, if it's currently like in production and not like out of stock sitting on a boat between here and Japan, then it'll be there for you to work with. So that's the other reason why it's there. So we have the museum, so you have all this incredible, beautiful inspiration, and you have Caravan, so that you can choose from all of these colors. And since we're going to Maine, we're going to wrap up our retreat with a farewell lobster dinner, because you can't go to Maine and not have a lobster dinner. I'm pretty sure it's a state law. It's required. I mean, not really. If you don't like lobster, let me know and you can have something else. But we're going to have a lobster dinner, and it's just going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a really small group, so it's lots and lots of one-on-one time with me and your fellow students. It includes your lunch every day and your book, of course. we are filling up. We don't, like I said, we don't have a ton of space available. So I just wanted to put this out there and make sure you know about it. I've sent some emails, but maybe you don't get my emails, or maybe you didn't want to read a 1,000-page essay about it. I get that. If you have questions, you can email me at designadorn@gmail.com, or you can comment on this video wherever you're finding it. I am trying to be less on social media, so I do have some app blockers. So I'm only on social media for a couple hours a day, so email is still the best way to get a hold of me. Anyway, I hope that you will consider joining me because it's going to be incredible and you're just going to have the very best time.